I've talked a lot about voters being stupid, dumb cattle, etc. People don't really ever seem to have an understanding of what will happen politically as a consequence of their vote. People are very reactive. Well, here you go. Polling's the devil, right? But there are a few pollsters you can trust. Pew Research, Gallup, Americans' views on immigration's effect on the United States. Yeah. In its most recent poll, released today, we're woker than we ever have been. 79% of Americans say that immigration is a good thing for the country. 15 points up from a year ago. The highest point ever recorded. It's all because of Trump. People are so fickle, dude, lol. Yep, that's it. It's as simple as that. You can see a very clear timeline here, right? So 2015, we'll start, okay? Donald Trump runs. Donald Trump wins, you know. For the most part, people's opinions on immigration continue to go up. Why? Because the Democrats were oppositional. Then 2020 happens. Biden wins the presidency. Democrats all of a sudden are like, whoa, we can't defend immigration. We can't downplay the harm illegal immigration does. Now we're dealing with the border. Support for immigration goes down. Just 7 months of ICE acting the way that it has been, we're at record levels. It's actually pretty huge. I'm not going to glaze Americans too much because I despise them. I really do. This is shocking, though. There's more data than this. This is an LA Times article describing the information. Oh yeah, the rest of the data, thank you. Give me the charts. Surge in U.S. concern about immigration has abated. Only 30% of Americans want immigration decreased, down from 55% a year ago. Will Democrats actually run on this? I wouldn't bet it. Or I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't bet on it. I would bet against it. Here we go. Look at this. Americans' preferred rate of immigration to the U.S. recent trend, where there was this increasing spike of people wanting it to be decreased ever since, wow, Biden's presidency began. What a shock. But it has plummeted. Did they just pull wokies or what? It's Gallup. Normally, I don't take, we're not looking at a YouGov poll, okay? I trust Gallup. The results from this poll are going to be studied for decades to come. Every time in the future we look at the Gallup poll on Americans' opinions on immigration, we're going to see this spike for 2025. Even for Republicans. Republicans' preferred rate of immigration to the United States, which, by the way, held steady more or less from 2000 all the way to the beginning of the Biden presidency. Funny that. Didn't even change that much under Trump the first time. It stayed steady. Skyrocketed to 88%, what a coincidence, of Republicans wanting immigration to decrease, cut in half, down to 48. Now, that isn't because they want it to be increased. It's because they want it to stay the same. Overwhelmingly, the shift has been from decrease to keep the same. But that's still significant. I think there's no way to look at this other than the Republicans have had to shift now that they're in power from propaganda about how Biden is letting people into the country and they've run amok, to Trump has successfully closed the border and ICE is dealing with it. And then by dealing with it, what they mean is really high-profile, embarrassing authoritarian crackdowns that make the news every single day and make people look really bad. As it turns out, and I said this, it doesn't matter what political party you are, nobody likes looking at ICE agents. Nobody likes looking at some skinny fat dude squeezed into military tactical gear with a mask on, running around with guns, being belligerent and shouting at people and pointing guns at people with no trigger discipline. Nobody likes that shit. It's not a good look. A record high number of people, 79%, say immigration benefits the nation. God damn, man. It's actually really good news. I'm glad, because I get blackpilled on this, right? I am glad that in spite of how stupid this country is, reality still has consequences, even to Republicans. In spite of how bad things have been with regard to anti-empiricism, there is still a relationship between reality and what people think is real. Just a little bit. ICE marching in UT suburbs. Yeah, as it turns out, people just don't like this. Nobody likes this. Nobody likes open militarized police presence occupying the neighborhoods that you live in. What's so crazy is that Democrats aren't even messaging as pro-immigration right now. Yeah, because they're awful and horrible and almost as bad as the Republicans. They don't believe in anything. They don't care about Latin people or immigrants. They despise those people, in fact. They despise all of their voters. They despise you. They despise me. They're evil, evil people. And worse, they're politically ineffective. This does not get us out of the woods. Not at all. Because you gotta understand, okay? All it would take is one 9/11 for all of America to go back to being anti-immigrant. It's not enough that people's opinions have shifted, okay? You need to cement them in place with strong policies and strong leadership, which the Democrats are not offering. It's a sad state of affairs. Listen, I am very, very, very heartened by this. Well, not by this, but by this, okay? Very, 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 very heartened. Partisans' views on immigration's effect on the United States. Look at the independent and Republican shift, dude. Look at that. 39 to 64 in a single year. Dems also shifted. Yeah, Dems have uptick, though they were already pretty close to the top. Independents have had a big shift as well, 66 to 80. It's kind of crazy how everyone was more or less in the same position back in 2001. Please explain the reason for the shift when all the propaganda is anti-immigrant. Well, for one, nobody likes looking at what ICE is doing. For two, the propaganda isn't immigrants are flooding our country. The propaganda is watch this ICE agent curb stomp a 6-year-old guy from Honduras. 6-year-old guy. 6-year-old kid from Honduras. The propaganda shifted from like, we're under attack to overt support of cruelty. You know? This 6-year-old grown man. Well, that's what they'd call him. Is there an ICE approval rating poll? Probably not from Gallup. Good authority. Let's see. ICE's popularity is plunging. Their budget is skyrocketing. More and more Americans view them unfavorably. Share of registered voters who support abolishing ICE. Abolishing, really? I would want to double check this data. That's substantial. More than 50% of Democrats? I don't know if I guess it only starts here since the election. From June 26, 2025, support rises for giving most undocumented immigrants a pathway to legal status versus deportations. 77% of Republicans approve of the way ICE is doing its job. Democrats very much so do not. Same with independents, to be honest. But yeah, no, there are an increasing number of people, a proportion of people, who are in favor of a pathway to citizenship. Here we go. Recent trend in public support for immigration proposals. Allowing immigrants who were brought to the United States illegally as children the chance to become U.S. citizens if they meet certain requirements over a period of time. So pathway to citizenship, right? Used to be 81%, now it's 85%. It's difficult to tell how much these numbers matter, though, because a lot of Republicans will say they agree with something like this, and then they'll support ICE not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, people are stupid and don't know what anything means. Allowing immigrants living in the U.S. illegally the chance to become U.S. citizens if they meet certain requirements from 70 to 78, hiring significantly more Border Patrol guards from 76 to 59, denying alleged gang members living in the U.S. illegally the ability to challenge their deportation in court, only 50, which is surprising because normally when you say gang members, immediately people press the execution button, and then a -8 and a -9, respectively, for expanding the border wall and deporting all immigrants living in the U.S. illegally back to their home country. I don't know. Anyway, don't get too comfortable. There's no guarantee this trend continues or even holds where it is, okay? This needs to be consolidated with good oppositional rhetoric, which the Democrats are incapable of providing. The Democrats need to be ousted for the good of this country. They need to be replaced. Deport them. The politicians, I mean. To where? To their favorite country, Israel. Still good news. My liberal parents sound like Lenin? Yeah, and the people they voted for don't, which is an issue.